Hello everybody, and I want to talk about something that is a dying thing where I live. These comic books. So I live in Washington State, and the area that I live in, I live in like the Bonney Lake, Puyallup, Tacoma area. Comic books, comic book stores. Having comic book stores that are regularly giving, that have new comics, are hard. Yeah, I can go to Oak Harbor, which is about 4 hours from me. I can go to Everett, which is about 2 to 3. But still, that's not anywhere close. And where I normally get comics half the time, like newer comics, is you go to Walmart and they have like a bundle for like $5 to $10 for 5 comics. But if you're looking for like regularly getting comics, like half the time I have to search on Amazon or go through Comixology, which sometimes is not the easiest for me to read. And just, I miss being able to go to comic book stores and you just bullshit with the people that are there and you can ask questions. Like, what about the new Batman story arc? What about X-Men? Doctor Strange, Green Lantern, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I like reading different varieties of comics. There was a place called the Comic Stop when I was in high school, and there's a comic store right behind my high school, which is right by my house too. And I discovered Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, which was a very good comic, and I read the whole thing. When the graphic novel came out, I bought the graphic novel. And I truly loved that. And even when I was a little kid, they had Image comics at the dollar store. So I used to read, not Image, but Valiant comics. And I used to read stuff like Supreme. And I do remember having Savage Dragon, Wildcats. And then as I got older, I used to go to comic book stores and I'd buy Spawn comics, Batman, X-Men. I never really read Avengers. I read Fantastic Four a lot. I read Doctor Strange. I read Green Lantern, Green Arrow. And then I started to just find whatever comics I could to really engross myself in the whole comic book. The Punisher comics, I got really into the Punisher comics. The whole 2099. So 2099 Spider-Man, X-Men, Doctor Doom, Ghost Rider, Punisher, the whole shebang of that. I read a lot. I read a lot of the New 52. But finding comics is so hard. Like, there's a place in Auburn that's close to me called Hills of Comics, but all they have is back issues. They don't really have new comics, and the new comics they have are like DuckTales and like My Little Pony and these Disney comics, and they'll have like Iron Man and Flash, which is stuff I don't like to read. I'm not a big Iron Man fan, not a big Flash fan. They'll have a Batman comic here or there, but a lot of them are older comics. So yeah, I've been able to find some older story arcs like Blackest Night, Marvel Zombies, a lot of Doctor Strange. Love Doctor Strange comics. They're so cool and so innovative. Thundercats, He-Man, Ninja Turtle comics, some G.I. Joe, some Transformers. So you can find comics, but it's hard to find straight up comic book stores, which is what I used to go to all the time. I loved comic book stores. That's where I found HeroClix, Magic the Gathering as well. I used to buy posters all the time and shirts, and it was really cool because some comic book stores will actually let you go in there and read them. Granted, every time we go up to Oak Harbor, there's a comic book store where my fiance's from, and it's been there like forever. And I'll just go in there and I'll look at the tabletop games, the books, especially the comics, because they got like a pretty big chunk of the store is comic books, and there's a lot of good comic books in there. A lot of good trade paperbacks. They even have like this history of Marvel book that's like $150 though, but it's like that thick. But if I want to read comics, I have to go to Walmart to get these, or I just go online and I order comics that way too. Because there are places where you can order like just random comic books, like bundles of comics. So that's one of the dying art forms that I've noticed, is the dying art form of comics. So if you have comic book stores by you, I think you should really check them out and just buy them. Keep the comic business going. It's a really good industry, and as so many things are dying off that were here when I was a kid, I would love to at least us try and save the comic book industry, because it is a great medium.